Welcome back to English with Speak Smart, everyone. I'm Jane, and I'm super excited to dive into a topic today that I think resonates with, well, pretty much anyone who's ever tried to learn a new language, especially English. It's that feeling, when it just feels impossible.
Oh, absolutely, Jane. I'm Lucy, and I can't tell you how many times I've hit that wall. You start off all energized, downloading apps, watching YouTube tutorials, feeling like you're going to be fluent in a month. Then, suddenly, you're just staring at your textbook thinking, what am I even doing? This isn't making sense anymore.
Exactly. It's like you're running a marathon and you're halfway through, but you're just exhausted and the finish line seems further away than when you started. That initial burst of enthusiasm fades, and you're left with the sheer grind of it all. And that's where motivation really takes a hit.
Totally. For me, it often comes when I feel like I'm not making progress, or even worse, when I compare myself to someone else who seems to pick it up so much faster. It's like, why are they getting it and I'm not? Am I just not good at this?
Comparison is a huge one, isn't it? It's so easy to fall into that trap, especially with social media showing everyone's perfect language journey. But what we don't see are the hours of struggle, the mistakes, the sheer effort behind the scenes. And that feeling of not making progresses is another major demotivator. Sometimes we're making progress, but it's so incremental that we don't even notice it.
It's true. It's like trying to watch your hair grow, right? You know it's happening, but you can't see it millimeter by millimeter. So, what do we do when we're in that deep valley of demotivation? How do we pull ourselves out?
Well, I think the first thing is to acknowledge that it's completely normal to feel this way. You're not alone. Every single language learner at some point has felt this frustration. Once you accept that it's part of the process, it takes away some of the pressure. Then, I'd say we need to think about breaking things down. When something feels impossible, it's often because the goal is too big, too abstract.
Yeah, like I want to be fluent is a huge intimidating goal. What does fluent even mean, really? It's much better to say, okay, this week I'm going to learn 5 new vocabulary words related to my job, or I'm going to listen to a 10-minute podcast episode in English every day. Those are tangible, achievable goals.
Exactly. Small, bite-sized goals. And the beauty of that is, every time you achieve one of those small goals, you get a little dopamine hit. That feeling of accomplishment, even if it's just I listened to that podcast for 10 minutes, starts to rebuild your confidence and, crucially, your motivation. It reminds you that you can do it.
It's all about celebrating those tiny victories. I started keeping a little notebook where I just jot down things I achieved, even if it's just understood a new idiom or spoke for 3 minutes without stuttering. Looking back at it makes you realize, hey, I actually am moving forward.
That's such a brilliant idea, Lucy. It's proof, right? Tangible proof of your progress. Another thing that often reignites motivation for me is connecting English learning to something I genuinely enjoy. If it feels like a chore, you'll always resist it. But if you can weave it into your passions, it becomes fun again.
Oh, for sure. Like if you love cooking, watch cooking shows in English. If you're into gaming, play games with English voice acting and subtitles. I'm a huge fan of K-pop, so I started looking up interviews with my favorite groups where they're speaking English or watching behind-the-scenes content. It doesn't even feel like studying because I'm so engaged in the content itself.
Absolutely. That immersion, even if it's just through your hobbies, is incredibly powerful. It shows you the real-world application, the reason why you're learning. It's not just abstract grammar rules. It's a tool to connect with things you care about. And speaking of connection, finding a community or a language partner can also be a massive boost.
100%. Learning can feel very isolating sometimes. You're alone with your books, alone with your apps. But when you find someone else who's on the same journey, or even someone fluent who's willing to practice with you, it changes everything. It's like having a workout buddy for your brain.
It totally is, and you can encourage each other, share tips, or just complain together about how confusing English phrasal verbs are. There's a lot of comfort in shared struggle, isn't there? Plus, having someone to practice with gives you a real reason to actually use the language, which is often what we fear most.
That fear of making mistakes, oh my goodness, that used to paralyze me. I'd rather say nothing than say something wrong and sound stupid. But you know what? Everyone makes mistakes. Native speakers make mistakes. It's part of learning. I remember once I told someone I was full of chips instead of full of energy after a long day, and we both burst out laughing. It was embarrassing, but also kind of freeing.
That's such a great story, Lucy, and it perfectly illustrates the point. Mistakes aren't failures, they're feedback. They tell you where you need to focus, what you need to clarify. If you don't make mistakes, you're probably not pushing yourself enough. Imagine a baby learning to walk. They fall down hundreds of times before they master it, but they don't give up because they're bad at walking, right? They just keep trying.
That's such a good analogy. We need to approach it with that same kind of childlike curiosity and resilience. And also, don't be afraid to change your methods. If what you're doing isn't working for you right now, switch it up. There are so many ways to learn.
Exactly. If drilling grammar feels like pulling teeth, maybe try watching a movie with subtitles. If listening to podcasts is getting boring, try reading a simple book or even a comic. Our brains crave novelty, and variety keeps things fresh and engaging. It prevents that burnout feeling too.
Totally. Sometimes I'll get stuck on a certain app like Duolingo, and then I'll switch to something completely different like an English learning YouTube channel that focuses on pronunciation. It just feels like a breath of fresh air, and suddenly I'm excited to learn again.
That change of pace is so crucial. And tied into all of this, I think, is revisiting your why. Why did you start learning English in the first place? Was it for travel? For work opportunities? To connect with international friends? To understand your favorite music or movies without subtitles?
Yes. My why completely changed my perspective. I started because I wanted to be able to talk to people when I traveled, but then I realized that English opened up a whole world of information and entertainment that I couldn't access before. It felt like I'd unlocked a secret level in a game, you know? And that reminded me of how powerful this skill is. It's not just a language, it's a key.
A key, that's a perfect way to put it. When you connect back to that core motivation, that deep-seated reason, it provides an anchor when you feel adrift. It reminds you of the bigger picture, beyond the daily struggle with verb tenses or tricky prepositions.
And sometimes, Jane, you just need a break, like a real, proper break, not just switching methods, but stepping away from English learning entirely for a few days or even a week. Guilt-free.
Oh, absolutely. That's such an important point. We often feel guilty if we're not constantly pushing ourselves, but our brains need time to consolidate information, to rest, and to recharge. Sometimes, stepping away completely for a bit allows your subconscious to keep working on things, and you come back feeling refreshed, with a new perspective, and often, surprisingly, improved comprehension.
It's like hitting the reset button. I've found that when I force myself to study when I'm completely unmotivated, I learn nothing, I retain nothing, and I just get more frustrated. But if I take a couple of days off, I come back feeling more eager and ready to tackle it again.
It's about sustainable learning, isn't it? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And you can't run a marathon at full speed the entire time. You need to pace yourself, take water breaks, sometimes even walk for a bit. So let's recap some of those key strategies for our listeners.
Acknowledge your feelings, break down big goals into tiny ones, connect English to your passions, find a community, embrace your mistakes, switch up your learning methods, revisit your why, and don't be afraid to take a proper break.
That's a fantastic summary, Jane. And I'd add one more thing: be kind to yourself. Learning a language is a huge undertaking, and it takes time and effort. There will be good days and bad days. Don't beat yourself up when you're feeling low. Just remember why you started, know that it's a journey, and every little step counts, even if you can't see it immediately.
Such great advice, Lucy. It's truly a marathon, not a sprint. And consistency, even small consistent efforts, will always win in the long run. So to all our listeners out there feeling like English learning is impossible right now, just remember, it's not. You've got this. Take a deep breath, try one of these tips, and keep moving forward, one small step at a time.
We believe in you! And hey, if you're struggling, reach out to us on social media or leave a comment. We're all in this together.
Thanks for tuning in to English with Speak Smart today.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. Keep practicing, keep learning, and most importantly, keep enjoying the journey.